Now, how do bushfires start? Well, this is often investigated after a fire. You can typically find the origination point because where the fire starts, it's normally much cooler and doesn't do so much damage. Then as the fire spreads and gets larger, it gets hotter and hotter. So often you can find a cool spot and then go and investigate where the fire actually came from. And this is the results from Australian fires as of November 2019 by cause. And the biggest cause is suspicious or accidental fires. So both caused by people. These are ones that are probably deliberate, but it's hard to tell. And these are the ones that are done by people by accident or mistake. They're deliberate fires, ones where we know someone caused it. So an accidental fire might be well, a common cause, for example, is cars. If you drive your car and pull over to the side of a road, if it's internal combustion engine car, the catalytic converter underneath in the exhaust often gets very hot, and if it's a dry, hot day, that might set fire to grass underneath the car on the side of the road and start a fire. A classic idea is people throwing a lit cigarette ends, but another more common cause is people having a campfire when they're out camping and it gets out of control or sends sparks somewhere. Deliberate, these are stupid, evil people who like burning things. And then you get natural fires, often lightning strikes. Reignition or spot fire, this is where maybe a fire, people have thought it had gone out, but there was maybe some fire still burning in a log somewhere and then it escaped again. Or a spot fire, which is where a glowing ember has been blown from one fire to start a new one, and other. The Canberra bushfires were started by dry lightning strikes. Lightning struck a number of places down here. The dry lightning it wasn't raining at the time. The lightning, you do sometimes get lightning with no rain. And then they burnt for over a week out in the mountains. This is a relatively rare way that lightning starts, but it's also the most dangerous. Some of the biggest, nastiest fires have started this way because lightning can strike in very remote areas where it's very hard to get a firefighting team in to deal with them until they're very, very big. So it's a relatively rare way in which fires start, but it's actually responsible for some of the nastiest and biggest mega fires. 3 years ago, at the time of filming, there was the Aurora Valley fire in 2020 as part of a huge black summer of fires up and down Australia, and this was caused by accident. This army helicopter was busy looking out for fires, actually helping to fight fires, and they decided to take a break and land. Unfortunately, when they landed, the landing lights on their helicopter were so hot it set fire to the grass underneath the helicopter. They then took off rapidly. You can see the burnt rear end of the helicopter. And this is a picture they took while flying away, showing that by this time the fire had already spread to a reasonable area. And eventually it spread over thousands of square kilometres. This is a view of it from Canberra, burning in the mountains. Luckily it didn't come that close to Canberra, but it did destroy a number of other people's houses in the farmlands to the south of Canberra. So that's an example of an accidental fire. So they can be started by many ways. Several of the most dangerous fires in the United States have been started by power line faults, an electricity transmission line that was maybe sparking and threw sparks into the vegetation nearby. And indeed, on particularly high fire danger days in the US, they often turn off the electricity to prevent these things from starting. If these fires if they can be caught quickly, they're easy to put out, but if they spread fast, particularly in remote areas, they become impossible to put out. So in fact, in some ways, it's actually the spread of the fire much more than the origin of the fire that really matters. As fires are always going to start at some level, the real question is whether they just stay small or whether they spread like crazy.